when the oceans remember the stars. Essay 2 in the Cosmic Ocean series, Prelude, The Ocean That Remembers Backward. In the first essay of this series, the story remained close to home. It traced a century in which humanity gradually learned how to listen to the deep ocean, developing sonar, submersibles, and acoustic technologies capable of penetrating environments that had previously remained inaccessible. Over that same century, however, humanity also bombed the ocean during weapons testing, buried toxic waste in its depths, filled its waters with plastic debris, and saturated large regions with persistent sonar and industrial noise. At the very moment the abyss began to reveal itself as an active and complex environment, attention began to turn elsewhere. The central observation of that earlier essay was simple but unsettling. When humanity finally developed the technological tools required to observe the deep ocean directly, the abyss did not appear empty. Instead, it appeared structured, dynamic, and ecologically complex. Rather than accelerating exploration of this planetary system, global attention pivoted rapidly towards space. This essay asks a deeper question that emerges naturally from that shift in perspective. What if Earth's ocean is not purely a terrestrial phenomenon? What if the ocean that regulates global climate, shapes atmospheric chemistry, drives weather systems, and sustains marine ecosystems is not a closed planetary system at all? The possibility explored here is that Earth's ocean may represent only one node in a far larger oceanic network that extends beyond a single world. Over geological and astronomical timescales, water environments may exist not only on Earth but between moons, planets, asteroids, and comets. If that is the case, then Earth's ocean may belong to a broader cosmic system shaped by planetary physics rather than by unique terrestrial circumstances. This essay is therefore a conceptual synthesis rather than a claim of proof. It does not argue that life on Earth originated elsewhere, nor that extraterrestrial oceans necessarily contain living organisms. Instead, it examines whether the growing evidence for ocean-bearing worlds, interplanetary material exchange, and chemically active subsurface seas places Earth's ocean within a broader planetary framework. To examine that possibility, the frame must widen. Evidence now points towards subsurface oceans beneath the icy shells of several moons, hydrothermal systems operating far from the warmth of the sun, microorganisms capable of surviving extreme environments, and meteorites that transport water and organic chemistry between planetary bodies. Together, these discoveries suggest that liquid water environments may occur far more frequently throughout the solar system than previously assumed. The first essay proposed that Earth's ocean behaves as a planetary regulatory system, adaptive, stabilizing, and responsive to disturbance. The argument developed here extends that idea outward. The deep ocean may not simply be an ancient feature of Earth's geology. Instead, it may represent a repeating planetary architecture. Across multiple worlds, scientists are now observing a familiar pattern: dark oceans, heated from below, circulating through rock and chemistry, and capable of sustaining strong geochemical gradients. These conditions appear in Earth's deep ocean, but they also appear elsewhere in the solar system. If such ocean systems arise repeatedly across planetary environments, then Earth's sea may be part of a much older cosmic pattern shaped by water chemistry, geological heat, and the long exchange of material between worlds. In that sense, the deep ocean may preserve a memory that reaches beyond Earth itself, a chemical memory rooted in the processes that form the solar system. Section 1. From Hypothesis to Observation. If oceans represent a recurring planetary structure rather than a uniquely terrestrial feature, then evidence of such systems should appear elsewhere within the solar system. Over the past 2 decades, planetary exploration has begun to reveal precisely that possibility. Spacecraft observations have identified multiple worlds where liquid water may exist beneath frozen surfaces, sustained by internal heat and geological processes. Among these discoveries, Saturn's moon Enceladus provides one of the clearest and most compelling examples. Data returned by the Cassini mission suggest that beneath its icy exterior lies an active subsurface ocean interacting with the moon's rocky interior. This discovery offers a striking opportunity to examine whether the oceanic architecture observed on Earth may also arise beyond our planet. Enceladus, the ocean that refuses to stay contained if Earth's abyss, served as the central character of the first essay. Saturn's moon, Enceladus, provides a striking cosmic parallel. At first glance, Enceladus appears unremarkable. It is a small icy moon orbiting Saturn, bright, airless, and frozen at the surface. Yet beneath that reflective shell lies one of the most surprising discoveries in modern planetary science. Data gathered by the Cassini spacecraft indicate that Enceladus contains a global subsurface ocean beneath its ice crust. Multiple lines of measurement, including gravity data, plume chemistry, and thermal observations, suggest that Enceladus is structured in three major layers. An outer shell of ice, roughly 20 to 40 kilometers thick, surrounds a global saltwater ocean that encircles the moon. Beneath that ocean lies a porous rocky core capable of generating geothermal heat through tidal interactions and internal processes. This configuration is immediately familiar to oceanographers and astrobiologists. On Earth, environments in which water interacts with heated rock, such as hydrothermal vent systems along mid-ocean ridges, create strong chemical gradients capable of supporting biological communities independent of sunlight. In effect, Enceladus appears to possess the same fundamental ingredients that sustain life in Earth's deepest marine environments: liquid water, internal heat, and mineral-rich rock. Liquid water itself is rare in planetary environments. Global oceans are rarer still. Oceans that interact directly with rock and geothermal heat are rarer again. Yet Enceladus appears to contain all three. One of the most remarkable discoveries of the Cassini mission emerged when the spacecraft passed repeatedly through Saturn's diffuse E-ring, which is largely composed of particles originating from Enceladus. Within these particles, scientists detected microscopic silica grains consistent with formation in hydrothermal environments, conditions in which hot water interacts with rock at temperatures exceeding roughly 90 degrees Celsius. On Earth, hydrothermal vents represent some of the most biologically productive environments in the deep ocean. Entire ecosystems develop around these vents, sustained by chemosynthetic microorganisms that convert chemical energy into biological energy. These systems demonstrate that life can thrive in environments completely independent of sunlight. The discovery of hydrothermal activity on Enceladus therefore carries profound implications. It suggests that environments capable of supporting life may exist beyond Earth, not only in theory but in physical reality. The most dramatic feature of Enceladus lies near its south pole. There, long fractures, informally known as the tiger stripes, vent plumes of water vapor and ice particles hundreds of kilometers into space. Cassini flew directly through these plumes, allowing scientists to analyze their chemical composition. Within the plume material, researchers detected salts derived from liquid water, complex organic molecules, molecular hydrogen, and evidence of water-rock reactions occurring at the ocean floor. These findings indicate active geochemical processes occurring deep within the moon. Hydrogen gas in particular is significant because it may provide a potential energy source for microbial metabolism similar to those found near hydrothermal vents on Earth. The plumes themselves act as a natural sampling system. Instead of drilling through kilometers of ice, spacecraft can analyze material originating from the ocean below. In effect, Enceladus is venting small samples of its ocean directly into space. The discovery of this ocean transformed planetary science. For decades, Earth's ocean was widely assumed to be unusual, perhaps even unique. Yet Enceladus demonstrates that deep oceans beneath ice shells can form through entirely different planetary processes. In the language of the first essay, the implication is simple: the abyss is not unique. Instead, it may represent a repeating planetary architecture that appears whenever three conditions converge: liquid water, internal heat, and rocky material capable of sustaining chemical reactions. When those elements combine, the result is a dark ocean heated from below, resembling Earth's deepest marine environments far more than its sunlit surface seas. The emerging pattern suggests that oceans like Earth's may not be rare exceptions. They may be a common outcome of planetary physics. Europa and the expanding catalog of ocean worlds. If Enceladus revealed that ocean worlds can exist, Europa showed that they may not be rare. Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 large Galilean moons, has long been considered one of the most compelling candidates for extraterrestrial life within our solar system. Beneath its fractured ice crust lies strong evidence for a vast global ocean. Where Enceladus is small and dramatic, venting water directly into space, Europa is immense and comparatively quiet. Yet the ocean beneath Europa's ice may contain more than twice the volume of water found in all of Earth's oceans combined. Evidence for Europa's ocean first emerged from multiple lines of observation during NASA's Galileo mission to Jupiter in the 1990s. The spacecraft recorded a smooth, fractured surface with remarkably few impact craters, suggesting that Europa's outer ice shell is geologically young and continually reshaped. More importantly, magnetometer readings revealed that Europa generates an induced magnetic field. The most plausible explanation for this phenomenon is the presence of a global subsurface ocean of saltwater capable of conducting electricity. Current models suggest that Europa's ice shell may be between 15 and 25 kilometers thick, beneath which lies a liquid ocean that could extend more than 100 kilometers deep. Beneath that ocean sits a rocky mantle capable of producing geothermal heat. Once again, the structural pattern seen on Enceladus appears: ice above, liquid water below, and rock beneath the ocean itself. The heat maintaining Europa's ocean is thought to originate primarily from tidal forces. Because Europa's orbit around Jupiter is slightly elliptical, the Moon is continually stretched and compressed by Jupiter's immense gravity. This constant mechanical flexing generates internal friction and heat, a process known as tidal heating. Over geological timescales, this heating may be sufficient to maintain a long-lived ocean beneath the Moon's frozen surface. Europa's surface further suggests that the ocean below is not entirely isolated. Images reveal enormous ridges, fractures, and chaotic regions where ice appears to have broken apart and refrozen in new configurations. These formations imply that material exchange between the ocean and the surface may occasionally occur. In some regions, warmer water from below may have partially melted the ice before refreezing again, transporting salts and chemical compounds upward through the crust. Observations in recent years have also hinted at possible water vapor plumes erupting from Europa's surface, though these detections remain under active investigation. If confirmed, these plumes would provide scientists with an opportunity similar to the one already observed on Enceladus: the ability to analyze ocean material without drilling through kilometers of ice. As planetary science has progressed, Europa and Enceladus have gradually stopped appearing exceptional. Instead, they became the first examples of what researchers now refer to as ocean worlds. Evidence has accumulated suggesting that subsurface oceans may exist on several bodies across the solar system, including Jupiter's moon Ganymede, which may contain multiple layered oceans beneath its ice shell, as well as Callisto, Saturn's moon Titan, and even distant dwarf planets such as Pluto. Although each of these environments differs in chemistry, depth, and geological structure, the underlying architecture repeats with striking consistency. Wherever ice, internal heat, and liquid water coexist, dark subsurface oceans appear capable of forming and persisting for immense periods of time. For much of scientific history, Earth's oceans were treated as a planetary anomaly. The discovery of ocean worlds has fundamentally altered that perspective. Liquid water oceans may not be rare features confined to Earth's surface. Instead, they may represent a recurring planetary outcome wherever gravitational forces, geological heat, and volatile chemistry intersect. If that interpretation proves correct, Earth's oceans may not represent an isolated evolutionary experiment. They may instead belong to a broader family of planetary oceans scattered across the solar system, hidden beneath ice, circulating slowly through rock, and sustained by the same physical processes that shape our own deep sea. Section 2. Water, rocks, and the movement of life between worlds. Once multiple ocean worlds enter the picture, a deeper question naturally follows. If water and chemically active oceans are common throughout the solar system, how isolated are those environments from one another? For much of the 20th century, planets and moons were treated as largely closed systems. Each world was assumed to evolve mostly on its own, with only minimal exchange of material between planetary bodies. Modern planetary science has steadily eroded that assumption. Evidence now suggests that the solar system is far more dynamic, with rocks, water, and organic chemistry moving between worlds far more frequently than once believed. Meteorite studies provide some of the clearest evidence of this exchange. A number of meteorites found on Earth have been conclusively traced back to Mars based on their chemical composition and trapped gas signatures matching the Martian atmosphere. These rocks were originally blasted off the Martian surface by large impacts and eventually crossed interplanetary space before falling to Earth. If solid rock can make that journey, an important possibility follows. Microscopic organisms sheltered inside those rocks might survive as well. This idea forms the basis of the panspermia hypothesis, which proposes that life, or the chemical precursors of life, can be transported between planets via meteorites, comets, and impact ejecta. The concept does not claim that life necessarily began elsewhere. Rather, it suggests that, once life exists, somewhere within a planetary system, natural processes may distribute it more widely than previously assumed. Laboratory studies have shown that certain microorganisms are capable of surviving extreme conditions resembling aspects of space travel. Some bacterial spores can endure intense radiation, vacuum exposure, and long periods of dormancy. Even more famously, microscopic animals known as tardigrades have demonstrated remarkable resilience, surviving the vacuum of space for short periods under experimental conditions. These experiments do not prove that life routinely travels between planets. However, they demonstrate that the physical barriers involved are not necessarily insurmountable. Water itself appears to participate in this planetary exchange. Many meteorites contain hydrated minerals, indicating that they formed in environments where liquid water was present. Comets, long suspected to contain significant quantities of water ice, have been observed delivering both water and complex organic molecules during impacts. Early in Earth's history, when the solar system experienced frequent collisions between planetary bodies, these exchanges may have been far more common than they are today. Large impacts could eject enormous quantities of rock into space, some of which would eventually intersect the orbits of neighboring planets. Over millions of years, a continuous background exchange of material may have occurred across the inner solar system. This possibility changes the context of planetary oceans. If worlds containing liquid water periodically exchange material through impacts and meteorites, then ocean environments may not be entirely isolated evolutionary laboratories. Instead, they may occasionally receive chemical and potentially biological inputs from elsewhere in the solar system. Earth itself bears geological evidence of such bombardment during its early history, the period known as the Late Heavy Bombardment, which occurred roughly 4 billion years ago, involved frequent large impacts across the inner solar system. During that era, Earth, Mars, and the Moon were repeatedly struck by asteroids and cometary bodies. These collisions likely delivered both water and complex organic molecules to Earth's surface. Some researchers have suggested that a significant portion of Earth's water may have been delivered by water-rich asteroids early in planetary history. If so, the oceans that now dominate Earth's surface may partially originate from material that formed far beyond Earth itself. In that sense, the oceans that regulate Earth's climate and sustain its ecosystems may carry a chemical memory of the broader solar system. The deep sea may not only reflect Earth's geology and atmosphere, it may also preserve traces of a much older planetary exchange, one in which water, minerals, and organic chemistry traveled between worlds long before complex life emerged on Earth. The possibility does not prove that life came from elsewhere, but it does suggest that planetary environments may be less isolated than once believed. Across astronomical timescales, worlds may share more than gravity. They may share chemistry, water, and the building blocks of life itself. The chemistry of life in motion If life can endure extreme environments, and if planetary systems exchange material through impacts and meteorites, then a deeper pattern begins to emerge. The solar system may not function as a set of isolated worlds, but rather as a loosely connected chemical network in which water, minerals, and organic compounds move between planetary bodies over immense spans of time. One of the most striking discoveries supporting this idea comes from the study of meteorites themselves. Many meteorites that reach Earth contain complex organic molecules, including amino acids and other carbon-based compounds associated with biological chemistry. The Murchison meteorite, which fell in Australia in 1969, remains one of the most famous examples. Analysis of this meteorite revealed dozens of amino acids, many of which are rarely found in terrestrial biology. These compounds are not themselves living organisms. However, they represent the building blocks from which biological systems can emerge. Their presence within meteorites suggests that complex organic chemistry can form in space and survive the journey to planetary surfaces. Additional evidence has emerged from comet studies. Observations of comets have revealed the presence of water, organic molecules, and complex carbon compounds within their icy structures. When comets approach the sun and warm, they release these materials into space, forming the distinctive glowing tails visible from Earth. Space missions examining comet composition have confirmed that these bodies contain both water and a range of organic molecules that may have played a role in early planetary chemistry. Together, these discoveries suggest that the raw ingredients of life may be widespread throughout the solar system. Rather than forming exclusively on Earth, the chemical precursors of biology may have been present throughout the protoplanetary disk from which the planets formed. During the early history of the solar system, collisions between asteroids, comets, and young planets were far more frequent than they are today. These impacts would have transported large quantities of water, minerals, and organic chemistry between worlds. Some researchers now believe that a portion of Earth's water may have been delivered through impacts by water-rich asteroids originating from the outer solar system. If that interpretation is correct, then the oceans covering Earth's surface may represent the cumulative result of billions of years of material exchange across the solar system. The implications extend beyond water alone. Organic chemistry arriving from meteorites or cometary impacts may also have contributed to the complex chemical environment in which life eventually emerged on Earth. In this view, Earth's biosphere did not arise in complete isolation. Instead, it developed within a planetary system already rich in organic chemistry shaped by collisions and exchanges between celestial bodies. Over time, the oceans became the central stage upon which this chemistry evolved. Within the deep sea, mineral-rich environments and hydrothermal systems provided stable conditions in which complex reactions could occur. These environments may have helped transform simple organic molecules into increasingly sophisticated chemical networks. Some origin-of-life researchers have suggested that hydrothermal vent systems provide one of the most plausible environments for the emergence of early metabolism. The combination of heat, mineral surfaces, and strong chemical gradients creates natural conditions capable of driving complex reactions. Whether life began in such environments remains an open question. What is clear, however, is that the ingredients necessary for biological chemistry, water, carbon compounds, and reactive energy sources, appear widely distributed throughout the solar system. The oceans that sustain life on Earth therefore represent more than a local environmental feature. They may be the product of a long cosmic history in which water and organic chemistry circulated between planetary bodies before eventually assembling into the complex biosphere we now observe. From that perspective, the chemistry of life on Earth is not purely terrestrial. It is, in part, cosmic, a repeating architecture of oceans as discoveries accumulate from Enceladus to Europa, from extremophiles to meteorites carrying organic chemistry. The possibility emerges that oceans are not unusual planetary features. Instead, they may represent a recurring structure in the architecture of habitable worlds. For much of the 20th century, Earth's ocean was treated as a special case. It appeared uniquely suited to support complex life, with stable liquid water at the surface, a protective atmosphere, and an active geological interior. Yet the expanding catalog of ocean worlds suggests that the conditions necessary for long-lived oceans may arise more often than once believed. Several key factors appear repeatedly across planetary environments. Liquid water forms when sufficient heat prevents freezing. That heat may originate from radioactive decay within a planetary interior, from tidal forces generated by gravitational interactions, or from residual energy left over from planetary formation. When liquid water remains in contact with mineral-rich rock, chemical reactions begin to create gradients capable of driving complex chemistry. Over time, circulating fluids transport heat, minerals, and dissolved compounds through these environments. On Earth, these interactions produce the hydrothermal systems that support ecosystems independent of sunlight. On Enceladus, plume chemistry indicates that similar water-rock reactions may be occurring within the Moon's subsurface ocean. Europa's interior structure suggests that comparable processes could also occur there, driven by tidal heating and geological activity beneath its ice shell. Taken together, these findings suggest that the combination of water, heat, and rock may generate chemically active ocean environments across multiple planetary bodies. The specific chemistry and temperature conditions will vary, but the underlying architecture appears consistent. In that sense, Earth's ocean may represent one instance of a broader planetary pattern. This idea does not imply that all ocean worlds contain life. Many may remain chemically active but biologically sterile. However, it does suggest that environments capable of sustaining long-term chemical disequilibrium, one of the central prerequisites for life, may be widespread within planetary systems. The concept of planetary habitability therefore expands. Instead of focusing only on narrow surface conditions, scientists increasingly consider the possibility that life-supporting chemistry might develop within hidden oceans beneath ice, deep underground, or in environments shielded from the harsh conditions of space. Ocean worlds provide one of the most compelling examples of this shift. A thick ice shell may isolate the ocean from the vacuum of space, while internal heat maintains liquid water and chemical circulation beneath the surface. Such environments could remain stable for millions or even billions of years. This stability matters. Life as understood on Earth requires time for chemistry to organize itself into increasingly complex systems and for those systems to evolve. If oceans represent long-lived chemical engines within planetary bodies, they may provide precisely the kinds of environments where such processes can unfold. Viewed from this perspective, Earth's ocean becomes part of a larger story. The sea that covers most of our planet may not be an isolated phenomenon produced by unique circumstances. It may instead represent one example of a recurring planetary structure, a structure capable of sustaining chemistry, stabilizing environments, and perhaps occasionally giving rise to life. The ocean, in other words, may not simply belong to Earth. It may belong to a pattern written into the physics of worlds themselves. Did you enjoy this essay? Let me know below. Like and follow for more. Section 3, The Ocean as a Planetary Regulator, as the frame widens, from Earth's deep ocean to ocean worlds, from meteorites to extremophiles. A deeper pattern begins to take shape. Oceans do more than host life. On Earth, they function as one of the planet's primary regulatory systems. They store and redistribute heat across the globe, absorb and cycle carbon, shape atmospheric chemistry, and help stabilize climate across long timescales. In that sense, the ocean is not merely an environment in which life exists. It is one of the systems that makes complex life possible at all. The ocean's thermal role is especially significant. Because water has a high heat capacity, the ocean absorbs vast quantities of energy and releases that energy far more slowly than land or atmosphere alone. This moderating effect helps reduce climatic extremes and buffers the planet against rapid temperature swings. Contemporary climate science indicates that the ocean has absorbed the majority system of excess heat generated by anthropogenic warming since the mid-20th century, making it one of the central stabilizing components of Earth's climate. Without that heat uptake, surface warming on land would be even more extreme. Ocean circulation also redistributes energy across the planet through large-scale current systems such as the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation and the broader thermohaline circulation. These slow but powerful currents transport warm water poleward and return colder water toward lower latitudes, linking regional climates into a single planetary system. At the same time, the ocean is chemically active. It absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, participates in carbonate chemistry, and stores carbon in both dissolved form and biological material. Marine photosynthetic organisms, especially phytoplankton, play a major role in global primary production and in the biological cycling of carbon through the water column. When marine organisms die, some fraction of that carbon sinks into deeper waters and sediments, helping regulate atmospheric composition over long spans of time. The ocean is therefore both a climate regulator and a carbon processing system. Its regulatory role also extends downward into the geology of the planet itself. Hydrothermal systems at mid-ocean ridges circulate seawater through hot crust, altering both the chemistry of the ocean and the mineralogy of the seafloor. The chemistry of the ocean and the mineralogy of the seafloor, sedimentation, volcanism, and water-rock interaction form a long-running exchange between ocean and crust that shapes the chemical habitability of the planet. Earth's ocean is not separate from the solid Earth beneath it. It is chemically entangled with it. This perspective has gradually influenced the scientific search for habitable worlds. Rather than focusing only on surface resemblance to Earth, researchers increasingly ask whether a planetary body possesses long-lived liquid water, persistent energy gradients, and active chemical exchange between water and rock. From that standpoint, a hidden subsurface ocean can matter just as much as a visible surface sea. What matters is not surface appearance, but whether the system can sustain chemistry over time. That shift is precisely why ocean worlds, such as Europa and Enceladus, have become so scientifically significant. They suggest that the structures supporting long-lived chemical disequilibrium, and therefore the potential for life, may not be confined to Earth-like surface environments. Instead, they may emerge wherever water, heat, and geology remain in sustained contact. On Earth, that combination produced an ocean capable not only of hosting life, but also of regulating the larger planetary system around it. Elsewhere, similar oceans may perform analogous roles in darkness beneath ice. If that pattern holds, then oceans are not simply one environmental feature among many. They are planetary engines. They absorb, buffer, circulate, transform, and remember. Earth's ocean is one example of such an engine. But it may not be the only one. The more worlds we examine, the more plausible it becomes that oceans are a recurring stabilizing architecture in the formation of habitable environments. Thesis restatement: Oceans as a recurring planetary system. The argument developed in this essay builds on the foundation established in the Not-So-Silent War. The earlier essay examined how humanity has historically interacted with the deep ocean and proposed that the abyss should be understood not as an empty frontier, but as a structured and responsive planetary system. The second essay expands that frame outward. Observations from planetary missions such as Galileo and Cassini now indicate that subsurface oceans exist on multiple bodies within our solar system, including Europa and Enceladus. In the case of Enceladus, plume chemistry suggests that active water-rock reactions and hydrothermal processes are occurring within its interior ocean. These environments share important structural similarities with Earth's deep ocean systems. At the same time, meteorite studies demonstrate that water and organic molecules are widely distributed across the solar system. Amino acids and other organic compounds have been identified in meteorites, such as the Murchison meteorite, while comet observations indicate that both water and complex carbon chemistry have circulated throughout the solar system since its earliest formation. When considered together with research on extremophiles, organisms capable of surviving in extreme pressure, temperature, and chemical environments, these discoveries suggest that the chemical conditions capable of sustaining life may arise in a wider range of environments than previously assumed. The central thesis that emerges is therefore not that life on Earth originated elsewhere, nor that extraterrestrial oceans necessarily contain living systems. Rather, the evidence increasingly indicates that oceans themselves may represent a recurring planetary architecture. Wherever liquid water, geological heat, and mineral-rich rock interact over long periods of time, chemically active ocean environments appear capable of forming. Earth's ocean is one example of such a system, but planetary science now suggests that it may belong to a broader family of oceans distributed across the solar system. Implications: rethinking planetary habitability. If oceans represent a recurring planetary structure rather than a uniquely terrestrial feature, the implications extend well beyond Earth. First, the discovery of ocean worlds shifts the scientific search for life away from narrow surface conditions. Habitability may not require Earth-like landscapes or atmospheres. Instead, long-lived subsurface oceans interacting with heat and rock may provide environments capable of sustaining chemical activity even in darkness beneath ice. Second, the growing evidence for interplanetary material exchange suggests that planetary environments are not completely isolated from one another. Meteorites, comets, and impact ejecta can transport water, minerals, and organic compounds across planetary systems. Over astronomical timescales, these exchanges may contribute to the chemical environments within which life could emerge. Third, understanding oceans as planetary regulators reframes their importance within planetary science. On Earth, the ocean moderates climate, drives large-scale chemical cycles, and supports the majority of the planet's biosphere. Similar oceans on other worlds, whether inhabited or not, may play comparable roles as long-lived chemical engines within planetary systems. Taken together, these insights expand the scientific concept of where habitable environments might exist. Oceans hidden beneath ice or buried deep within planetary crusts may represent some of the most stable and persistent chemically active environments in the universe. Conclusion: when the oceans remember the stars. Seen in this broader context, Earth's ocean becomes part of a much larger planetary story. The water that circulates through Earth's currents and tides is not simply a local feature of one planet. It is part of a wider cosmic cycle in which water, minerals, and organic chemistry have moved between planetary bodies for billions of years. Meteorites and comets have carried these materials across the solar system since its earliest formation. The deep ocean, therefore, records more than the history of Earth alone. It is part of a wider cosmic cycle in which water, minerals, and organic chemistry have moved between planetary bodies for billions of years. Meteorites and comets have carried these materials across the solar system since its earliest formation. The deep ocean therefore records more than the history of Earth alone. It reflects processes that began during the formation of the solar system itself. Planetary exploration is increasingly revealing that oceans may arise wherever water, heat, and geology remain in sustained contact. Such environments appear capable of persisting for immense spans of time, circulating energy and chemistry through planetary interiors. Earth's ocean is one example of that structure. It may not be the only one. Across the solar system, and potentially across countless planetary systems beyond it, oceans may represent one of the universe's most enduring environments for sustaining complex chemistry and perhaps life. In that sense, the ocean does not simply connect the continents of Earth. It connects Earth to a broader cosmic pattern, and in its chemistry, its circulation, and its depth, the sea may carry a record of processes that began long before our planet formed. Processes written not only in Earth's geology, but in the formation of worlds themselves. Did you enjoy this essay? Let me know below. Like and follow for more.